It drove me crazy was seeing some of the comments online, you know,
Yeah.
on that video, because some people were defending her behavior.
Yeah.
And they were saying, oh, well, you know, you antagonized her, you got her going and pressed her buttons or whatever. The thing that I have to say to that is, we don't teach our kids to act that way if somebody's getting under our skin or pushing our buttons. So why is that acceptable from this person? I mean, when I saw it, I was shocked.
Well,
I mean, I was entertained, to be honest, but I mean, I was shocked. I mean,
but I gotta tell you, there's two things from my perspective. A, as a woman, I've never, ever, ever thought that it was okay to act like that in a position of pay.
No.
And I've I've done some manly jobs. I mean, putting myself through college, I welded. I worked in the maintenance at Disney, where there's 600 employees and 50 of us were women. I grew up in a household full of brothers. I don't have any sisters. So believe me when I tell you, there's a lot of times where I have been treated differently because I'm a woman. You know what you do? You don't throw it out there. You fight harder. Yeah. And you work stronger, and you work smarter. Well, and you prove yourself. And as someone, not even as a woman, because that really infuriated me that she said that, because clearly I could see it was not a woman issue. It was a moral issue, in my opinion, a moral issue. But as someone in the audience, it was a very uncomfortable, and you can vouch for me because you sat beside me, it was a very uncomfortable position when I saw her act, like it was, and we were quoted as being adolescent or juvenile for giggling. It was actually kind of like a very uncomfortable giggle.
I was shocked that is the circus of the school district of Osceola County. Yeah. I'm ashamed for that board. John, I'm sorry that you got to deal with that, but I mean, the test is, had she acted that way to Mr. Thacker?
Oh, yeah.
Had she acted that way to Mr. Melendez or anybody else?
Right.
The results would have been different. I believe the chairman would have said something.
If it had been me, if they had been Melendez, or had lost their cool, then certainly they would have been right on it, reacting to it right away. It would not have been acceptable. And here's the thing: if it had been a man treating a woman that way, also it would have been forget it. They would have used that excuse. And certainly, I can tell you, to me, in my mind, they don't care about that difference. But they would have used it politically to make a change.
But my point was, I believe if she had acted that way towards any of the others, they would have stopped it.
Yeah,
it would have been shut down. Yeah. They enjoyed watching it happen to you.
Yeah,
and that's what bothered me the most.
I agree,
because you were up there sticking up for what was right for the people,
right?
And they loved you going through whatever that meltdown that was occurring.
I think that was evident in the August 17th meeting, right? So the superintendent, Corey Garvin, I want to say this, I want to be very clear. The school district organized, choreographed, right, during school hours, obviously, for a gigantic crowd of administrators to come to the August 17th school board meeting, okay? Now, they were all wearing the same color shirt. Now, some of those very administrators reached out to me and let me know that was happening. The school district, okay, the superintendent, through our PIO and other people, were calling them, telling them to come to that meeting.
Wow.
Okay? So, number one, when you really have a base of support that cares about a specific issue, you don't need to make a bunch of calls and tell them to all get into the same uniform. That's like an old school, bullying tactic. Number one, I'm not going to be intimidated. I don't care. They could have all been wearing whatever color, and it could have been 50 times that number of people. I'm going to, obviously I did. Now, maybe I lost my cool, and here's when I lost my cool, was when I asked one of the principals from my district, how many times, because they were saying, oh, well, you never come to the schools. I was like, how many times have I been to your school? I asked her straight in the face. She looked at me in my eyes and lied and said 2 times. Now, I had been in her office for a half hour or more twice. I've been on that campus several times. I've been to many of my campuses several times. There are some schools I've only gone to once, and you know what? I wasn't going to ask that principal that question, because I'd only been there once, and I knew the answer.
Right.
But I have gone to the schools. I've actually gone there, graded papers. I've volunteered and I've offered my time to them. Now, when I go to a campus and it's a hostile environment, I can tell that this is like an establishment loyalist. I'm not going to spend my time there making their job harder. Right? I go to the schools where they ask me for support. Hey, can you help us? I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I'm going to go to that school more. Right? But certainly I've been to those high schools many of times. And so that lie is what caught me off balance. And then I lost my emotion a little bit. I should have held it back. I didn't. But, that's the way it goes. But even though it wasn't my best night, this is a marathon, right? There's going to be a lot of opportunities for me to say what I need to say for the benefit of the community. So I didn't take it to heart. But I got more than 24 calls, following that meeting saying, hey, we really appreciate it. In fact, somebody called me and they said, hey, listen, and this was somebody who I've known. They have not been one of my supporters. In fact, that they were completely against me winning the seat. They've been against me in my neighborhood. They live very close to me.
Right.
We have not been on the same side at all.
Really?
But he called me and I was like, God, please give me the grace to answer this call and treat this person with respect. I'm already not in a good place of mind.
Sure.
I took the call and he said, hey, I'm going to keep this short. I just want you to know that I see what you're trying to do and I completely support you.
Wow.
So the call went on for it was a short call, but he reiterated very much that, hey, you know what? I told him, thank you for this call because I know it wasn't my best night. I really appreciate you calling me and letting me know this. And he's like, well, you know what? It may not have been your best night, but now I realize this is personal for you.
Sure.
You're invested in this situation,
right.
and you're going to go and you're going to fight for us,
right.
and I appreciate that.
Right.
And so, so for every fake response that comes out on Facebook by somebody's fake Facebook account or somebody
right.
who's got their job because of the superintendent
right.
or so on and so
yes.
forth, then, hey, you know what? I'll take the real ones, the
right.
5 real ones over that one fake
sure.
one every day of the week. So,
well, I know they share the same opinion as me. You're not alone on this.
No.
For the past year or so, we focused on St. Cloud. We haven't really paid too much attention to what's going on in the school district. That's changing now.
Yeah.
They're going to see us there, meeting after meeting, and we've got your back. So keep doing what you're doing and fight for the people. We appreciate that.
And it's funny that to me, I always say, if somebody's angry about the truth, everybody likes the truth until it's directed at them, right? Everybody's experienced that. And so now, clearly, you can start to see that there's a reason that they wanted to shut down the truth and transparency, meetings. And I start to see it now. And it's hard, like Chris said, for a long time we were focused here solely on St. Cloud. I mean, not like we don't have enough in our basket here to deal with, because we do. But, you start to see, and, Tom here has children in the school system, and
that's it. We've been missing that component.
Correct.
We haven't. I don't think we did our job.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't think
is now we're.
I don't think that's the case. You know why? Because for a long time it was a quiet school board,
sure.
right? It was a quiet district. Nobody said anything but positive things about the school district.
Yeah.
Nobody ever mentioned. Nobody asked any questions. Nobody went to the meetings.
Right.
Everybody's like, "Wow." I think Tom, you told me they got 1,000 views at the school board meeting, and it's usually 30, or whatever it is. Well, here's why. Because it's not worthy of a quiet situation. Right. It's really not.
Right.
There's corruption going on there. As we're seeing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And here's one thing. I'm gonna say this to you guys directly here. When you don't have fear of retribution by somebody else, when you don't have fear that somebody's coming after you, then you stay quiet and you stay invisible. I'm getting attacked by all kinds of people, right? And they're exposing themselves as being a team of sorts. Well, I mean, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep coming. And the whole reason that you're harassing me is because you're fearful. And I can smell that fear, and I'm going to continue digging into it until the day that I leave that office. So.
Right. And as I stated on Facebook, one of my comments was, you may not like his approach, you may not like his style, but if you don't understand and appreciate what he's fighting for, it's not for me, it's not for you, it's for everybody. I don't understand how you wouldn't want that truth and that transparency, and enough of and I hate to use the word establishment, but it's true. I mean, we all are products of Osceola County School. I also went to college in Osceola County, so it wasn't just elementary and middle and high school for me. It was also college. And I have to tell you that I saw a lot of things wrong. And I recently was in college. I graduated last year, as a matter of fact. And I saw a lot of things going wrong with our system, and a lot of ways that they failed me as a student, my classmates, my teachers. And so while, I saw a bunch of blue jackets or T-shirts or whatever they were in the crowd, there's always going to be that group of people who fear for their jobs. So they're, of course, going to, march along like good soldiers. But there's a lot of folks, I can tell you, that will speak out about how we have been failed by the school system, our superintendent. I mean, it is what it is. It's a sad situation, but I appreciate it. And I, for one, am not scared to shy away, as we know Chris isn't and Tom isn't, and the Wooder girls.
And I think that if there are things that the superintendent is doing that that you feel is not aligned with what is right, there may be pressure on her by some of those other three.
That's true.
Because I see that, I've seen that time and time again out of St. Cloud City Hall. thing is, when you expose those others, that pressure may come off of that superintendent. So
Well,
I hope for the best for her. I want her to succeed, but I don't want her doing the bidding of the other.
I could not agree with that one. The most credible person behind that dais is Dr. Pace, right? There's no, she's got the experience, she has the background, she has the knowledge, she has the skill. And I told her that very much. I also told her the whole reason that those people showed up because they thought that I was going to be calling for her resignation. That's what the school district was telling the people that they have to show up. Now, I told her in person to person, the day that I have a problem with you, I'm going to come to you.
Sure.
Right? I'm going to come to you first. And here's the thing, I have come to her several times. But what I think what created that issue is that we had our evaluations to turn in, right, of her performance. Now, here's what's funny. I'm just speculating because I don't know this for a fact, right? But if those, over the past 5 years or so, if all of those evaluations, which we do on an annual basis, are straight 5s across all 5 school board members without even a comment, what does that tell you about what the real situation is? Something's not right. That's right. They're not, either A, the school board members are not doing their job, right? Or we should have all A schools, right?
Correct.
You could say, if it's 10 years of all 5s, or 5 years, she's been there for 5 years, just over 5 years, if we have nothing but 5s on your evaluations, then we better have some damn good schools.
You're right. And blue ribbons and
blue ribbons and everything.
Yeah.
That's right. There better not be a single thing we're changing if you get straight 5s from every person.
Correct.
Well, I turned mine in and mine was honest.
Right.
Right? And here's what happened. They got terrified. And that shows, I wrote an article for the Orlando Sentinel guest column, right? And I said that the leadership was broken. Well, when your leadership can't take an ounce of criticism, that shows something, a system that's broken.
Absolutely.
Right? If you can't take an ounce, if you don't think that you can make one corrective measure in your organization, when that organization is $1.7 billion large, it's an absolutely unrealistic, it's unrealistic, it's unfathomable that you would get all 5s for every year. And the minute somebody gives you less than a 5, that you throw a fit, what does that tell you? It's a lack of leadership. Yeah, it's a lack of leadership.
Have you had that one-on-one discussion with Dr. Pace?
Well, here's the thing. Really, our communication has been breaking down since I got there, right? And here's why. Like I said, Dr. Pace is not the target of my views. I think that she could lead this school district. But in terms of leadership, you need 3 things to be a great leader, okay? You need, number 1, you need all the raw material, the talent to become a great leader, right? Number 2, you need an environment in which you can become a great leader and practice your leadership. And number 3, you need a challenge to overcome, right? You need a battle that you can fight. Now, she is not provided with those 3 things. She's not provided with an environment because she's not asked to do a great job, right? She certainly hasn't, well, the challenge is the school district, but that's not the challenge that she's been focused on. Her challenge has been combating school board members who don't agree with what the other 3 school board members are doing. And so that's not you cannot become a great leader when your challenge is political.
Right.
Right? That's it. That you hit the nail on the head. It's too political. Same with the city of St. Cloud, where we want the city manager just to focus on actually running the city. It becomes, in those meetings, they're battling the other 2.
Yeah.
Time and time again. Because that's what we've been living through for many years here. As long as you stand up to those other 3, she's going to continue to play defense for the other 3. Yeah, that's just the way that goes.
Well, but that's an untenable situation because here's the thing. We have an election now, right? And I've been talking about this transition, this transformational change that we need to have. So, number 1, as I said in my article, what better circumstances to bring about transformational change than a global pandemic? It happens once in a lifetime, right? So instead of using the situation that we have as an opportunity to make our school system great, to implement things that make us great, to increase transparency, to bring the community together, which is happening because we have all of these people coming to Osceola County in droves, right? In the past 10 years, it's doubled in size. So of course you're going to have like old and new. There's going to be friction there. So great leaders take that friction, they put a little bit of grease, and they turn that into diamonds. That what we've done here is you have a desperate grab for power. Like I've been in charge here for so long. I have a school named after me, for God's sakes. I want to keep all this. Well, that desperation, number 1, not only does it look ugly, but it also has ugly results for the community. So for me, it's not me. I'm not pitting people against people. What I'm saying is we need to change the dynamic of our leadership so that we use the opportunity to improve the lives of all the citizens here. We need to take the advantages that the new population that's coming here and the population that has all the institutional knowledge from Osceola County here, put them together and create a system that works well.